we are at the Classic Car Boot Sale with Wayne Hemingway MBE.
I do.
Very well, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you, yeah.
Has it all been moseying along nicely
it
for you
has.
today?
We had a bit of a rainy start to the day, which always makes it a bit challenging setting this up, but it's been we've had thousands of people in. It's been successful. The queues have been big. Traders are all saying they've done well. Food people have done well. So even though it's a grey end of April, on London-like day, it's done all right.
It's a UK festival, so of course it's raining.
Yeah.
When was the Classic Car Boot Sale set up? How long has it been in action?
We started to do events like this in 2010. So this is, I think this is about we do up to 3 a year. So we're on about the 20th. We're on about the 20th one now. So yeah, it's been going quite a long time. So we've got a big following. We big database. People come all the time to it, and yeah.
And you are Mr. Car Boot.
Yeah, well, I've always kind of done car boots. Just in terms of attending them. So built a record. I've always collected records, and I've expanded my record collection at car boots. When you could buy loads of records, you can at this one, but at normal car boots, we used to get loads of good record collections that people cleared out. You don't get that anymore. All my kids' clothes. Sorry, all my kids' toys. Got an amazing collection of kind of vintage Playmobil and Lego, which are now all passed down to grandkids. So we've got amazing old toys that have come from car boot sales, and we've even got some of the best furniture in our house. We've got some amazing mid-century designer pieces that we've picked up at car boot sales.
One of my presenters this week was talking about fast fashion and telling people to avoid it, basically, or just to shop a little bit more wisely and to buy maybe some more kind of cherished items, which today is a celebration of. Yeah,
I mean, like here there's a combination of vintage that goes all the way back to the 1920s, but there's a lot of people who've got really good 90s clothing, which is just worn if you know how to wear clothes, absolutely timeless. I mean, now if I said to somebody I'd just been out shopping in Paul Smith, nobody would disagree, but I've got a pair of second-hand Lokes brogues, a pair of 1940s workwear American kind of jeans, well, grey canvas, a 1960s second-hand shirt on from M&S, a new workwear jacket, and a Mac that is, I only just realised when I put it on this morning, is an old London transport buses from 1981, staff issue. But I don't look like I've stepped out of a film or anything. I'm just a normal somebody in London who probably knows how to dress half decently. But yet, this is all done without there's only one thing that's had to be made of new out of the whole outfit. And you can do it. You can absolutely do it without looking like you've stepped into the past.
Mm-hmm. We are asking one key question today here on Hoxton Radio, and that is, what is vintage?
Well, vintage is something that stands the test of time. What it isn't is the word retro. So, for example, a pair. Look, fancy dress. It's not even a fine line. There's a massive difference between fancy dress and vintage, and vintage really is a beautifully designed. Like we're looking over here at some beautifully designed cars. Now they will look absolutely amazing, those vintage cars, in 100 years' time if they're still around, and because the design is so brilliant. There's the track that's playing now off the top of the double-decker bus is a late 70s jazz funk, Brazilian jazz funk track, which a 20-year-old young person getting into music in 20 years' time will still be able to dance to and still want to dance to, because it's just timeless. These brogues that I've got on, tell me, I mean, do they look like they're from the 1970s, or could they have been made now?
Very now.
Yeah, because so what vintage is it's something that's been beautifully designed, stands the test of time, and will always just be good, and that means it's not fast fashion. So the hat that you've got on, men have been wearing those hats, I would say, that particular style since the 40s. they got very big they got very big in the 60s again, and you're wearing it now, and I don't think that's the second-hand one, or is it?
I think so.
That's the second-hand one, but you don't look like you look like you're supposed to be wearing it. That's a velvet jacket. That's old. I think that's probably 1970s. But again, you don't look like you're trying to look like you've stepped out of the past, and that's because they've been designed well.
The motor car was what kind of killed off the hat in men, I think, because then you had to take your hat off in the car, and a bigger hat wouldn't fit in the car.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons, and I think the other reason for it is it just I think men became more, had the ability to not have to conform. All men used to have to wear a hat because it was seen as the thing you do. You doff your hat to the lady, and the hat was about being a man. But being a man now means you do what you want, really.
The way that young people tend to talk these days, and the kind of the sort of London street lingo being, that's becoming they're saying regional accents are sort of dying out a bit, and that this sort of the way that the youth speak is sort of taken over. This almost like London sort of accent. How do you feel like that about that? Because you speak really well.
Well, I personally don't like that kind of that in-it speak that's become kind of.
It's become radio friendly. It's become BBC friendly.
Yeah, and personally, I like differentiation in accents. I'm proud of my Lancashire accent. I love the Cockney accent, and you don't hear enough of it nowadays. And I love, when I first moved to London, I loved the Jamaican patois accent but even that's kind of that's all going, and it is becoming this kind of everybody sounding the same. So, which would be a shame if it went that way. It seems to be that there seems to be this pressure at school to talk in a certain way, which and you even get it's kind of a bit of ghetto speak, but it seems affected, and accents should be natural rather than affected, and I think there's a lot of young people who kind of put on an affected accent at the moment, and they need to stop it, really.
Wayne, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thanks for your festival.
Thank you very much for attending it. Yeah, cheers.
Nice one.